Mongoose Jake here to take a look at the brand new Blitz 6. This is a Adventure Force blaster made by Busby Toys, and of course, being Adventure Force, is going to be exclusively available through Walmart and Walmart.com. And wanted to take a look at this thing for as soon as I seen the first pictures of it being released, because if you know me, my favorite pistol on the market has been the X-Shot Reflex, which is also, ironically, available as an Adventure Force product as the Destroyer, like this one. And this is eerily similar. So I'll try to avoid making too many comparisons in this video, because that's a whole separate video to compare the two. My old favorite compared to the new guy. Now, what do you get here for your $7.49 retail price? Yeah, this is only retailing for about $7.50. What do you get? Well, you get the blaster and 12 of the long distance darts, which Busby actually has taken the time to try to improve those a bit. They've been, a sticking point in the past, including my own reviews of last summer, where I commented on how inconsistent they were. Well, they've actually changed the whole manufacturing process on the darts themselves, switching from manually assembling them to an automated process, and you do get a lot less of the whole glue issue where there was just covered all over. Now they're much more consistent, and I actually took the time to run some pretty extensive tests on the darts themselves, and I actually seen a small improvement of about 5% more accuracy over 500 shots. Yeah, I do use my blasters a lot, but they have improved what is, your basic dart that you get with most of their blasters. No reason to. They're not going to get any kind of headlines for doing so, but it's nice to see regardless. Now, the blaster itself, the Blitz 6, it is a 6-shot front-load, spring-powered, rear prime, pistol-style blaster. Very simple. 12 darts included, load 6 of them up, pull the rear prime, fire it, and repeat. Just keep doing that. It's as simple of a blaster to use as you can get. If you're somebody like me that likes to use a lot of pistols, you just carry a dump pouch with a bunch of darts in it and then just keep reloading and go. Very fun for running around and blasting. Now, we need to talk about a couple things, of course. Easy to see the function. I don't really need to go into much depth on that. But with Busby blasters, we need to touch on the ergonomics, the construction, and the functionality. Well, the ergonomics are actually pretty solid. I'll comment on a couple of things to note real quick, but overall my feelings on the ergonomics are pretty positive. I think they've done a pretty nice job with this. Now, you can see my hand here sits fully on the grip, so it's not too small. And I do wear a XL to double XL size glove. It's the only way I can give you a judgment of the size of my hand. Now, my wife, of course, she wears size small gloves. Herself being only about 5'2" in height, she has small hands. This fits her like really, really well. Me, it's on the edge of being just barely big enough for me to get my hand on. Something to note. Keep that in mind. And this yellow piece here, this is just a trim piece. It's just cosmetic. It doesn't have any internals in it, and it actually extends far enough back that it is just at the edge of almost being in the way. So, something again to note, if you have even bigger hands than me, that might be an issue, but if you're under an XL size glove, you're not going to have any issue with it. Because, again, my wife and my little girl, they didn't have any problems with it. So, just something to note. Overall, though, the grip is smooth. There is no sharp points in any of it, front or rear. It fits the palm nicely. And the priming handle is exactly as you'd expect. Has a little bit of firmness to it. Again, I did hand this off to my little girl. She had to actually put some force to it. But for an adult or a teenager, not going to have an issue. A little kid with, with having to put some force into it, that's just a telltale sign. Your youngest users may have to actually dedicate a little effort into it. But that effort is rewarded with performance. I'll get to that here in a second. looking at the construction of this, it is the classic Busby construction with individual panels that are removable, but these don't have the creakiness that some have in the past. And the plastic feels thicker and a little more solid than some of the recent offerings. I can't help but compare this to one of the first things I noted was that it feels more like their water blasters. And those things are pretty tough blasters overall. You can drop them on the ground, kick them around. If you accidentally are running around, there's an empty one on the ground. Normally, things like the Busby Outlaw, those are pretty tough. This has that kind of feel to it. This feels like it could take a beating, like toys will do. They'll get dropped and kicked and put away and thrown. This thing feels like it can handle it. More so than, again, some of the recent offerings. So I think it's a step in the right direction. Now, functionality. The performance specifically that I was starting to note. I actually averaged over 78 feet per second with the included long distance darts, which is very nice. That was one thing that was very positive about the X-Shot Reflex or Adventure Force Destroyer. These always had good stock performance. Now, again, I'll get into the possibility of modding this in a whole separate video, but in my testing, 78 feet per second was a very, very consistent baseline. I actually got better performance with other darts, including Busby's own Precise Pros. That bumped it up into the mid-80s. So with the long distance darts, I was getting 78.5 feet per second, averaged over 50 shots. Now, the Precise Pros, Nerf Elites, X-Shot Excel darts, and even the Adventure Force waffle tip darts, which you can just go down the aisle a little further away from this, and you'll be able to pick up a pack of those. All of those averaged over 80 feet per second, into the mid-80s, which is very solid performance out of a $7.49 blaster. That's well above and beyond the 70 FPS average that Nerf blasters generally get. And more in line with what you come to expect from some of the larger Busby products and some of the X-Shot products. It's not on par, of course, with the Pro Series from Dart Zone, but this is a solid performing and above its competition. You look at the Nerf Disruptor, you're going to get about 71 feet per second out of a 6-shot pistol that costs about $12.99, $7.49, and right around 80 feet per second depending on the dart you use. So very nice. That's high marks for it. So, conclusion. I think it's a worthy option. That's the best thing I can say about it. It is certainly a worthwhile option to take a look at. The coloring, that's an appearance, that's all up to you. Busby likes to do a, much more toyish look on their toys. I have no fault with that, because I can always paint it if I want it. If I want to hydro dip it, which I will, I can always do that. But as it is, it's nice, colorful color scheme with multiple panels that you can, again, you can take those apart and do your own mix and match color scheme you want. But all in all, it's a pretty comfortable blaster with good performance out of a stock $7.49 pistol. So I absolutely can give it a thumbs up approval. It's going to be hard to tempt me away from the X-Shot Reflex, but Busby's done a pretty good job of making a viable alternative. And that may not sound like high praise, but that's extremely high praise out of me, considering this thing's my favorite pistol for the past 5 years. And this is right there with it. So, good job for Busby doing this. I know this isn't the blaster that everybody's all hyped for. It's the Alpha Auto 72, which is coming up next. I will do my review on that here in the next day or so. So, stay tuned for that. Until then, I'll leave you with the Blitz. And I give it a thumbs up approval. I think 100% you should check this out. Not a huge risk in a $7.50 blaster to try it and see if you like it for yourself. But Smoky Shake saying thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this, and do stay tuned for my review on the Alpha Auto 72.